My husband, M36, and me, F33, have been married for 12 years. We built a life together, one that from the outside probably looked solid, even enviable. We have 3 kids together, 2 of them twins, which brought both joy and chaos into our home. Like any marriage, there were ups and downs, but I always believed we were strong enough to face them. For a long time, I thought of us as the perfect team. Partners who could handle anything as long as we stood side by side. But life has a way of testing even the strongest bonds. After the twins were born, everything naturally became more demanding. Sleepless nights, endless chores, constant crying, and the overwhelming responsibility of taking care of 3 children. Our house became a storm of needs and tasks. And just as all of this was happening, the pandemic struck, which only amplified the sense of confinement and pressure. Since I wasn't employed at that time, I ended up taking on almost every responsibility in the household: cooking, cleaning, managing the kids, helping them with everything big and small. My husband did help here and there. He would sometimes put the kids to sleep, and on certain days he cooked, but in reality, the majority of the weight was on me. I was also always the one who had to run to the kids when they were crying or fighting. Slowly, I started to feel like a single mom, except my husband was living under the same roof. Whenever I asked him to help more, his answer was almost always the same. He was too exhausted from work, too overwhelmed, and needed to relax. He would explain that his workday was stressful enough, and that coming home meant he needed peace, not more demands. I understood, or at least I tried to. We both reassured ourselves that this was just a temporary phase, that once the kids grew older, we would regain our balance as a couple. Still, I couldn't help noticing the double standard. I also needed a break, yet I rarely got one. To cope, I found small escapes for myself. I dove into books, sometimes binge-watched videos online. Charlotte became a favorite. She helped me unwind when I felt like I had nothing left to give. My husband and I still had some shared time, but mostly it meant watching what he wanted on TV, because doing anything else together seemed impossible. Intimacy between us started fading too. It dropped to maybe 2 to 3 times a month. That physical distance was a symptom of something bigger, a slow but steady emotional drift. Years passed like this. The kids grew, became a little more independent, and I finally thought I could start breathing again. But then I noticed changes in him. At first, subtle ones. He began talking about this new coworker of his. He seemed excited, saying how refreshing it was to finally have someone at work who understood him, who he connected with. He even told me that I would like her, that maybe the 3 of us could hang out, and that she could even become my friend. But soon his words changed. Instead of introducing us, he started stalling, saying not yet, or let me get to know her better first. Around the same time, he became more protective of his phone. This was new. He had never been secretive with his devices before. My instincts screamed that something wasn't right. After consuming Charlotte's videos for so long, I had already sharpened that sixth sense many women develop in situations like this. And sure enough, one evening, when he went out for a walk, something he suddenly started doing on his own. Even though he always claimed family walks with the kids were too much trouble, I decided to check. He had taken his phone with him, but he was still logged into Facebook on his computer. My hands were shaking, but I opened his messages. What I found broke me. He had confessed to her that he was in love. He called her his soulmate. He told her they were destined to meet, that their connection was something extraordinary. All the things that he used to tell me, the same words, the same intimate language, he was now offering to someone else. They had inside jokes, deep conversations about work stress, about his depression, about me and our marriage. My entire world collapsed as I scrolled, crying and screaming at the screen. It became clear that they had been meeting up. Walks together. Accidental encounters. When I took the kids to my parents for a while, thinking I was giving him peace and quiet to recover from work, they actually went on a date. In one message, he wrote about regretting not going for it on the bench that time and how next time he wouldn't hesitate. She, in turn, kept playing that twisted push-pull game. No, we can't. But I can't stay away from you. the classic act of resisting while still fueling the fire. When I confronted him, chaos erupted. Days of crying, screaming, silence, despair. He admitted everything, except for sleeping with her. He swore nothing physical had happened, but his anger towards me was shocking. He blamed me. He said it was because I had neglected him, because I had become too independent, because I didn't need him enough. The same man who had brushed off my pleas for support was now telling me I had pushed him into this. The worst moment came after a social event where we saw her too. That night at 1 a.m., he got up, said he needed fresh air, promised he wasn't going to her. But I followed him, barefoot, heart pounding. And sure enough, I caught him walking straight to her apartment. He didn't even notice I was right behind him. Earlier that evening, he had been talking about taking a break, saying he couldn't be my husband right now, that he still wanted to support me and the kids, but needed time to work on himself. I had fought against it, begging for us to talk, to repair things, still believing we could survive this. What followed was unbearable. He cried, she cried, I cried. And somehow I walked away feeling like I had traumatized her. The narrative flipped and I was cast as the villain for catching them. In the months after, things were hellish. He was inconsistent, one day showing effort to fix things, the next day backpedaling, saying it was partly my fault. He would tell me to leave with the kids, that he would visit them when he could. When I told him he should leave instead, I became the evil one for kicking him out. And through it all, I was still protecting the kids, shielding them from the ugliness while carrying my pain alone. Conversations with him were impossible. Every time I tried to express my feelings, he accused me of using the wrong tone, of attacking him, of being too emotional. He insisted he hadn't betrayed me, because he never slept with her, as if emotional betrayal somehow didn't count. He framed it as him being powerless against his feelings. Eventually, he moved out his decision. He claimed he needed to heal, to forgive himself, to spend time alone. And yet, he still shows up at the house almost daily. He eats with us, makes small talk, but doesn't really spend time with the kids. Whenever I bring up our relationship, he shuts down. He says he needs more time, that I trigger him, that we can talk later. Always later. My friends have been a lifeline through all this. They've reminded me that I'm not crazy, that my pain is real, that his behavior isn't okay. And now I'm at a crossroads. I'm seriously considering leaving, but with 3 kids, the weight of that choice terrifies me. Is it selfish to think about myself now? To put my own well-being first? He insists he can win me back, that we can rebuild. But when I told him his leaving was abandonment, he was the one who got offended. Deep down, I know I've lost respect for him. I no longer trust him. My friends say the kids won't miss him too much because he barely spends time with them anyway, that his absence wouldn't change much. And maybe they're right. Maybe it's time to stop waiting for him to heal while I keep bleeding. So here I am, asking for perspectives. Would it be too cruel of me to walk away? Or is it finally time to give myself permission to choose me, even with kids involved?